และตอนนี้ผมนั่งอยู่กับอธิบดีของกรมการศึกษาระหว่างประเทศกระทรวงศึกษาธิการรัฐควีนส์แลนด์ครับของที่นี่ครับแล้วท่านผู้ชมผมแน่ใจว่าตอนนี้กำลังนั่งมองว่าเอ๊ะหน้าตาคล้ายๆกับแอนดรูว์ใช่ไหมคำตอบก็คือใช่แล้วครับนี่คือพี่ชายแท้ๆของผมครับเหลือเชื่อว่าอยู่ในตำแหน่งนี้ครับแล้วเราจะสัมภาษณ์คุณสตีเฟนครับเพื่อที่จะถามว่าทำยังไงแล้วจะดูแลคนไทยยังไงถ้ามาเรียนที่นี่ครับขอแนะนำให้รู้จักพี่ชายของผมครับเป็นภาษาอังกฤษครับ This is Stephen Biggs. He's the Executive Director of EQI, which is Education Queensland International, and he's my older brother. So I'm going to have to say สวัสดีครับ
Sawadee krap.
How are you, Stephen?
I am very well, and it is an absolute delight to have you here back in your hometown to see the delights and the wonderful opportunities that we have here in Brisbane, Queensland.
All right, I've got a very important question for you. Why Queensland? Why should a Thai student come to study in Queensland?
Well, Andrew, there are lots of reasons. Because Queensland, we have this wonderful lifestyle. We have a relaxed, we have a laid back, we approach life in a very, very relaxed way. But we still encourage lots of strong studying. That's very important. But lifestyle's important.
What do you mean by relaxed? How is it
We're
relaxed?
not as rushed as Sydney and Melbourne. We're big enough to have absolutely everything that you need, but we're not as rushed. We take things in perspective.
Right. Queensland's always been considered to be more of a rural state than the rest of Australia, right? Particularly in the eyes of Sydney and Melbourne.
Yes, that's correct. And in fact, in Queensland, there are more people that live outside of the capital city of Brisbane than live in the capital city of Brisbane. Now, that occurs nowhere else on mainland Australia.
So that's like, there's 2 million here in Brisbane.
Yeah, it's around about 2 million.
And how many in the state?
There's about 5 million in the state.
Okay, and Queensland's a pretty big place. About 4 Thailands will fit into Queensland.
Yes. In fact, when you step on the daily Thai flight, the Thai Airlines flight to Bangkok, your first at least 2 hours of the flight, you have not left the boundaries of Queensland.
Wow, so it's a big place. What are some of the crops here? What's the produce that they grow here?
We're very strong in a number of key crops. We're very strong in sugarcane because of our tropical environment, our warm tropical environment, which is also very different to Sydney and Melbourne. We're also strong in wheat. We're also a bit of barley, a bit of sorghum, that kind of thing. We're mainly, though, a beef cattle state.
Okay.
We have lots of beef cattle.
And what about tourism? Tell me the places to go for tourism here.
Tourism, Queensland is an absolute mecca for tourism. We have Australia's famous locations here in Queensland, namely the Gold Coast and, of course, Cairns, and that means the Great Barrier Reef. But you can also see the outback, the famous outback in Queensland as well. West of Brisbane, if we travel a long way west of Brisbane, we have one of Australia's iconic towns called Birdsville, which is on the edge of the desert, and there is races there every year. It's just a wonderful place, a wonderful experience.
Okay, so there are lots of good reasons to come here.
Yes.
Why not Melbourne or Sydney? Why come to Brisbane?
Well, Brisbane, I mentioned earlier about how relaxed Brisbane is, and I think that's our key selling point. But you see, we also have a wonderful climate here. This is a subtropical climate.
So what's the weather like?
The weather is always warm. There's only, we say here in Brisbane, we have a winter that lasts maybe about 4 weeks.
And we're in it right now.
And you're in it right now.
Okay. We're going to take a very short break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about study. เราจะพักกันสักครู่นะครับแล้วก็กลับมาคุยเรื่องเกี่ยวกับการศึกษาในรัฐควีนส์แลนด์ครับสักครู่ครับ